Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Tom K. Wilson, provides you with insight and guidance from his years of experience as a successful real estate entrepreneur on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate, and much, much more. Now, here's your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Tom K. Wilson.
Nice to have you back with us. Thanks for tuning in to our Real Estate Radio Live program, your number one source for all of your real estate needs and education. We're broadcasting from the number one business radio station in the San Francisco Bay Area, KDOW AM 1220, the Wall Street Business Network. I'm Tom K. Wilson, your host for the 2 p.m. Wednesday and 9 p.m. Wednesday edition of Real Estate Radio Live that comes to you daily Monday through Friday at 3 p.m., along with the 2 p.m. and Wednesday and Thursday shows, along with my co-host Joe Kuchera. If you can't make the live show, you can catch your podcast on reradiolive.com and my programs on tomwilsonproperties.com or on iTunes or on YouTube. We have a great program for you today with our guest Pol vanRhee, and we'll introduce him in just a moment. It's going to be on the world of internet marketing and also real estate. So stay with us. If you'd like to get my newsletter on the macroeconomics with real estate, go to tomwilsonproperties.com and sign up for it. It's once a week. You'll get a one-page read that brings you up to date on what's going on in the world of economics as it applies to real estate. Also, you can ask for a report, how to select the best metro and product to invest in. We always welcome your questions and suggestions for topics and guests, and we're pleased to offer free consultation at any time that you would like some guidance on real estate investing. So we're very pleased to have today with us in studio Pol vanRhee, who's an entrepreneur who owns several businesses, including a small craft brewery, maybe the most important one, and restaurant in Sacramento. He's the owner of Influence Engine Marketing, an online and offline marketing company. Influence Engine Marketing specializes in branding, helping people to become recognized authorities and experts in their niches. He has a background as an audio engineer and DJ, who's worked with top sales and motivational speakers in recording, editing, and producing some of the top-selling audio and videos that people run to the back of the room to buy. He's currently writing his second book, Getting Comfortable with Uncomfortableness, A Guide to Success. His first book was Influence Engine Marketing for Real Estate Professional, which is currently being updated. He's also a real estate investor with properties in the U.S. and internationally. So, Pol, nice to have you with us.
Yeah, it's good to be here, Tom.
You and I just got back from Las Vegas on a syndication seminar by your friends and mine, the real estate guys. Pol's been the real estate guys associated with them for a long time. They're certainly been one of my favorites, and indeed they started doing radio shows in this very station 17 years ago.
It's been a long time.
It has, and you and Robert Helms actually met through broadcast, didn't you? And
we were in college radio together.
Yeah, great.
So over at San Jose State, KSJS.
So our friends, the real estate guys, certainly we always recommend them to folks to go listen to their radio broadcasts and podcasts, and they've been good friends, and they have very good education program as well. So Pol, we got to start off and break the ice here. Tell us a little bit briefly about your brewery. How'd you get in that business?
Well, actually, kind of funny. We had a friend that was brewing beer in the bathtub. I know some of your engineers here brew their own beer as well. So it's kind of one of the things that you kind of do when you go through college or wherever, and then if you really like it, you keep it up. And we had a chance to go over and bottle the beers, and we bottled the beers. This is about 20 years ago. We started bottling the beer and distributing it up and down the coast of California. Got really popular, had a chance to get a property out in Sacramento that was an old brew pub it was going out of business. We bought it out and started brewing beer and started a restaurant within it. And it's been over 10 years now.
Wow.
It's Hoppy Brewing out in Sacramento, 6300 Folsom Boulevard.
Well, I know. I think on some of the Someone at Seas, we've been able to taste and enjoy some of that.
Yeah, I really enjoy the taste of good beer, especially if it's nicely hopped up. And we have some good hopped up beers, 4 that we do regularly in bottles, 1 seasonal beer, and then we usually have about 9 to 11 beers on tap. So kind of fun.
That's fun. And your some of your partners are with real estate guys, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's kind of a syndication, if you think about it.
Yeah, with Bob Helms, who's been on the radio program here, and Robert, who's the co-host and originator of the Real Estate Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So tell us about Influence Engine Marketing. I kind of decided, well, I wanted to bring in Paul because he's a good buddy, and I know he has a lot of breadth of experience. I thought you would enjoy it today. We'll talk some about real estate in a bit, but I thought many of our listeners probably have some businesses of their own, and they're always interested in how they can better their business reach. So I thought you'd enjoy hearing a little bit about Paul's business here.
Well, Influence Engine Marketing is about marketing your space, and we kind of can tie it to real estate if you really think about it. Everything you're doing in marketing, trying to find a good location for yourself and putting a sign up at that location so that people can see where you're at. So you look where people are and find what are the influences in that area. So if you're online, there's going to be, everybody knows Facebook, so there's millions, what is it, 1 billion people now on Facebook. So you have to have a sign there. It's having your billboard up wherever you're at. And it really, to me, marketing doesn't matter what names they are or what actual places they are. It's how do you get into those places and how do you put up the sign so that people can see it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what got you started in this business?
Well, I have a background as a DJ, and doing live seminars was my niche. So I do live seminars for different sales trainers and motivational speakers, and worked with a lot of different corporations. And corporations at one point were doing daily, at least weekly events, and I had 5 or 6 clients that I was dealing with, and they were doing regular gigs, and I had money rolling in because I was doing these gigs over and over again, and very easy and fun to do. For me, it was just like fishing in the sea of audio recording and pulling out cash whenever I wanted it, and then webinars and podcasts came along, and live seminars became fewer and in between in corporate.
So you got started in this business before internet was really a major force, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So then, as it evolved along, you fortunately saw the value and need for utilizing internet, and some of your clients did not know how to do that, and you helped them out. Is that kind of how it evolved?
Yeah, it's kind of how it evolved. I was looking at it more of a scarcity model. I was going, oh my God, everybody's leaving and going to webinars. I better get in there too. I better do something online. If I don't do something online, I'm going to lose all my business. And so I started doing some stuff online. I realized that I needed to see if I could get some other DJ business coming in, and started promoting my DJ business online. I pulled out my old website that I'd built in the 80s and said, oh, that needs to be updated. And
you built a website back in the 80s?
I built a website back in 85, 86, somewhere around there.
Wow.
It did not look great, but
anything was way ahead of the pack.
Well, Fortunately or unfortunately, my father was an engineer, and I was around.
Careful now. Careful.
Yeah. So I said I'd never wanted to be like that. So I know that you started as an engineer as well, but I said I never wanted to be around that. I never want to be around computers, internet, and all that kind of stuff. And lo and behold, I just happened to have a talent at it, and I'm there. I was.
Who's some of the folks you worked with?
Doing any of these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like to specialize in smaller businesses. So my businesses,
They need you more, right?
They need me more, and I have an affinity for being able to help a smaller business out. So I've worked with different real estate professionals, but I've also worked with some of the big name sales trainers and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you find? What's typical when you work with a client and they want some bigger exposure on the internet? What do you find are some of the initial, most common needs that you can help them with?
Well, a lot of times their website is just not optimized for being found. I find that most smaller businesses, whether it's a real estate agent or some insurance agent or something, they'll have a company website that they deal with. They have a page on a company website, and that just isn't lend itself to being found by any of the search engines.
Mm-hmm.
So we try and get them ready to get a website that can establish their own authority, regardless of whatever the company is in, so that they can have something that they can promote and easily promote on the internet. It gives them kind of a way to consolidate all their information and still lead to their company website if they have a company website. But if they don't, or if they move their company, they can still take their own personal website with them.
Mm-hmm. So it needs to reflect them more than a larger umbrella company, and it needs to, I guess, be also one that's set up so that the engines can crawl and find them and the keywords easily.
Yeah, I mean, let's take any kind of business as an example. You don't buy business from the company; you're buying business from the person that's giving you the business. A real estate agent, you're not buying from Keller Williams or whatever. You're buying from one specific agent at that office because you've got a relationship with them. It's know, like, trust, and that's what we try and do, is set them up to know, like, and trust them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you, I think so. The starting spot is usually their website. Get that in better shape.
Yeah, it's the website, because that's the foundation of where all the other social media, all the other avenues, the influence engines circle around.
Okay. We'll be back in a moment with Pol vanRhee, who's the audio video expert with the Real Estate Guys and has his own multiple businesses, including Influence Engine Marketing. And we'll also be talking about real estate and his experience with that. He spent a lot of years with the Real Estate Guys, so it's very natural that he's got some real estate experience too. But we'll talk about that in a moment. This is Tom K. Wilson on KDOW, 1220 AM. Stay with us.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Tom K. Wilson.
Welcome back. Glad you're still with us here. We got Pol vanRhee in the studio with us, who's an entrepreneur who's got several businesses, including internet marketing. He's also the audio video expert with the Real Estate Guys and a real estate investor himself. Pol, let's chat a little bit more about the kinds of things that most people can use assistance with and should do to get better exposure of their business with the internet. What other kinds of things should folks take a look at?
Well, I called my business Influence Engine Marketing because I think that the influence engines are are the thing that give you influence on where your business is going, where you need to have your marketing. And the influence right now is where people are. So where people are is on different places on the internet, and we think that they're on, Twitter and Facebook and all these different social media sites, Google Plus, and we don't really know where our next client is going to come from. So we want to try and see if we can get on as many of the highways as possible. There might be 30 ways to get to your place of business, different streets that you could take, a different highway that you could take, but you want to have a sign on each one of them pointing the direction to your place so that they can do business with you. So I think a lot of people don't have enough signs up. I think it's very simple to go over and put up a sign on Facebook by putting up a page on Facebook. A lot of people don't ever do it, and when they do, they kind of make it they're used to being personal on Facebook. If they're on Facebook, they're not used to being business-like. So they don't put a business sign up. They put up their personal sign, and it needs to reflect a little bit of both. So branding between each one of the social media sites needs to be consistent. Big name brands do that all the time.
Make sure you have continuity so they all link together and
they all need to link together. They all need to look alike, so they need to look like they belong to the same business. A lot of times there will be a picture of one thing here and a picture of another thing there, and you don't recognize that the brand is the same. But I mean, if you look at a big name brand like Coca-Cola is going to have their brand on every single thing that's there. You're going to see their logo. You're going to see all their stuff. It's going to look the same. It's going to look like it all belongs together. Whether it's Google Plus or Twitter or Facebook or Pinterest, whatever it is, it's all going to look the same. A lot of businesses don't do that because they're not in that branding mode. At least smaller to mid-sized businesses, that's very difficult for them to do. It's not like it's difficult to do. It's just they don't think about it, right? So you have to, once you start thinking about it, then you can easily put it together. The other thing is that most businesses don't have regular schedules of stuff that they put out. It's great, like for instance, that you do a podcast, because that podcast comes out regularly. This radio show comes out regularly. The podcast that comes along with this radio show comes out regularly. So you have a regular set of authority that comes out that points to your website consistently. And consistency is very, very important in any kind of marketing that you do. When you advertise on KDOW, the way the advertising works on KDOW or any radio station is the fact that you have to have a consistent message that goes out over and over again because it needs to be heard. And you have to get a person right when they're thinking about what you're doing. So it's one thing having a Super Bowl commercial and putting it up and having one person see it, or billions of people see it and then see it one time, and then maybe they come on YouTube and look for it again, and
then that's it.
And that's it.
You got to get some critical mass, some follow.
Yeah, and that works great if you got a $4 million budget. But most small businesses, and I'm including real estate agents and other groups like that, any kind of small business like that, they don't have a $4 million budget. They don't have $1 million budget. They don't even have $100,000 budget. You're going to try and do something that's going to get you the most bang for the buck. The most bang for the buck is direct response marketing, and that means being someplace that people can see what you're doing, and then just having the message there so that they can go directly and take some action right at that moment, right when they're thinking about doing business with you.
Good stuff. Pol vanRhee is with us, who's the CEO of Influence Engine Marketing and been associated with Real Estate Guys for a long time. We'll come back in just a moment and chat some more with him about internet marketing. This is Tom K. Wilson with KDOW 1220 AM, the Wall Street Business Network. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Tom K. Wilson.
So nice to have you with us, and so nice to have Pol vanRhee with us today, who's the owner of Influence Engine Marketing, one who helps his clients get better reach to their target marketing, and is also does the audio and video for the real estate guys, who actually have been broadcasting for 17 years from the same radio station. So it's nice to have Pol here, and we've had other folks from the real estate guys. We've had Russell Gray and Bob Helms in here. I guess we got to get Robert in here sooner or later, get him back. I think he does most of his, almost all of his programs now are remote. I just wanted to mention that on this branding subject that you were talking about before the break, that, one of the ahas for me was when I was invited to come on and do this radio program on real estate investing. I primarily did it just for personal growth. I love the whole field of education, and knew I would meet some interesting guests that way. And I didn't really do it primarily to help the business. But I noticed after a year or so, it started gaining some traction to give just kind of affirm your thoughts about how continuity and consistency is very important. Now, I'd say half the clients that call us up say, Tom, we've been following you for 3 or 4 years, and we heard you speak at this event a year and a half ago, and by the way, we like your radio program, and I wanted to talk to you. So, it's I can see how that synergy works. The synergy and consistency really works.
Well, a lot of people don't take that extra step, right? So becoming an expert in something and becoming knowledgeable about something and having people acknowledge that you're knowledgeable about something is it's not really that difficult, but it does take time, and it does take consistency of doing something like writing a book. Having a book written is a great thing because you can hold it up and you can show it to people. You can send it to them through email now or through Kindle. Mm-hmm. Doing a radio program where you can point to the show. You can point to everything that's there. You now can say, all right, this is my knowledge. You can show that the expertise is there, and that gives you a leg up on everybody else that's out there. And anyone can do that, whether you own a carpet care place or you own or you're a real estate agent, or it might be hard to do a carpet care radio program, but there's other avenues that are out there that can give you that kind of an expertise. And it doesn't have to be a book or a radio program, although those are obviously really good ways to do that. There's all different kinds of things that you can do, from writing reports to speaking at events. And just being out there and doing that regularly gives you that huge leg up that no one else can get in your niche. And that's very simple to do, actually. It's not that difficult to make the search engines find that and exploit that, so that you have, and exploit's kind of the wrong word, but I mean,
leverage,
pay attention to
yep.
it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To show attention that it's there. Make sure that's known to everybody else that's out there, because again, it's the sign on the meat. It's it's the billboard that's right on the highway that you're running on. You need to have that billboard wherever that road is. You need to have that billboard, and it's very easy to get that.
So great to have internet marketing expert with us, Pol vanRhee. He's been in the business a long time, and nice to have him here in the studio. So we'll be back in a moment and start talking about his real estate investing experience. This is Tom K. Wilson at KDOW 1220 AM, the Wall Street Business Network. We're talking today about internet marketing, and we're going to talk a little bit about real estate investing experience that Pol has had. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Tom K. Wilson.
Thanks for being with us today. I have Pol vanRhee in the studio with us talking about internet marketing. And Paul is also, because of partly his association with real estate guys for many, many years, he also got himself involved in real estate investing. And I don't know, the first one you did probably was that Robert's influence or on your own when you needed a room, you needed to pay for your room.
When I needed to pay for my room in college. That was my first syndication.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
That was, I really had no idea about real estate and how great it was for an investment. I had no idea about that. I was in college, needed to have funds. And one of the best way to do that was I rented out a house in downtown San Jose, big old Victorian house. And we had several rooms in that house, and I rented out all the rooms.
Plus,
I rented out a closet. I rented out parking spaces. I rented out the couch. Yes, I pretty much rented out everything I could possibly rent out in that Victorian. And I was on the lease. I was on the hook for it, but I was renting it, and I collected enough rent to go over and pay for my stay for free.
So you had a lease syndication.
Yes, at least syndication. That's exactly right.
Born a necessity is a great motivator and drives us to be quite creative, doesn't it?
Yes, and it made me realize that it was not. Once I realized that was a syndication, I realized, I could do syndications. In fact, I've done syndication. We probably all have done syndications at one point or another. Yeah. Going to prom and having the limo shared, that's a syndication, right?
Yep.
Getting beer for a party, getting a couple of kegs, and having everyone pitch in.
I find it interesting. There's still some people that they kind of get nervous when they hear the word syndication. They think mobsters, right? It's just getting folks together with money with a like goal and putting your money together to achieve it. And it's often a lot easier to do that as a group than it is individually, right?
It's a great way to get free beer.
Yeah. Okay. Back to that. Boy, you keep getting back to that, but that's okay. Can't wait for lunchtime, huh?
Life revolves around beer, doesn't it?
Tell us about your later syndications.
Well,
and other real estate investing that you've done.
In real estate investing, yeah. I was a partner in multiple different real estate syndications. For instance, we got a plot of land in Arizona, in Phoenix, back when it was the big deal in Phoenix before the big crash happened everywhere. But got it called that. Different little things like that, just putting together things where I was a partner in it.
You say little in hindsight, but folks that haven't done it, it feels very tough for them to do, and it really isn't, is it?
No, it's actually much simpler than you think, as long as you follow some of the rules that are there. Now, it's harder to start that syndication. It's not that difficult to be part of a syndication. Mm-hmm. So being part of a syndication was how I started off.
And a good way to learn, isn't it?
It's a great way to learn. In fact, that's how I could not have started my own syndication unless I had been partners with other people that were starting that syndication.
Take advantage of their knowledge. You take advantage of their ability to get a loan. You get great education that way, relatively low risk if you pick a good syndicator to get involved, and you can distribute your risk, right?
Yeah, number one, you distribute everything, all the risk that's there. So if you lose something, you're going to lose less than you would if it was your own deal. And
they'll put all your eggs in one address.
Everything there, and frankly, I learned way more from the ones that didn't work.
Isn't that amazing?
The ones that did. And
I don't think I know any expert or someone that's been around a long time that doesn't say they learn more from that. So hopefully your net is more wins than losses, but you learn more from the ones that you lose. And I think most people say, "Gee, I want to tell everybody about it so they don't go through the pain I went through."
Yeah, I think people that go through this kind of thing want to share what they do and how they do it. So they want to have a good time talking about the problems, but you also want to talk about your successes, of course. I mean, there's some great things that happen when you do a syndication because you get to do bigger projects than you ever would get a chance to
And
do.
sometimes better quality projects.
Yeah, and it lets you see a side of real estate investing that's different than just owning your own house or even buy it. Well, I mean, you could have a syndication just with you and your mother-in-law buying a house together that you live in. That could be a syndication. So, I mean, there's different ways to be able to get into a investment real estate. And now living in your own house is not investment real estate, but obviously you can have all different kinds of possibilities that are there. I mean, if you look at the brewery that I have, I mean, it's in a sense it's a syndication.
Sure it is.
It's a bunch of guys that got together and put the brewery together. And it's the same thing with any of the properties that I've done. I like doing things in partnerships, if you will. So getting groups together and putting it together and doing something that you can do that's bigger than yourself.
And you've been on both sides of it, haven't you? You've been a member of a syndication, and you've put together syndications, right?
Yes, both have their issues, and both have their problems, and both have their advantages. There's great things to being able to put something like that together, but there's also great responsibility that's there when you have somebody else's money. It's in one sense it's very, very scary, especially when you do your first one because you got somebody else's money. And usually when you first start, it's somebody their money. So it's your family and friends that you get together. And believe me, you do not want to lose your family and friends' money because you never, ever, ever, ever hear the end of it. Every single Christmas and any kind of holiday.
Does this mean you have experience with that?
Oh, I certainly do.
So heed that before you decide whether to bring in family and friends.
Be very, very careful. You always need to be careful with other people's money, but
course.
Especially with family and friends.
Yes, I think I'm more careful with other people's money than I am my own sometimes.
I'm right there with you.
We got Pol vanRhee with us in the studio today talking about real estate investing, internet marketing, and it's great to have him with us. And we'll cover a couple more topics right after the break. This is Tom K. Wilson at Real Estate Radio Live on KDOW 1220 AM, the Wall Street Business Network.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Tom K. Wilson.
So nice to have you with us today, and so nice to have Pol vanRhee here today with us in studio, a man of many talents. We've talked about internet marketing. We've talked about his real estate investing experience, and we're going to talk for a couple minutes here about his books.
That's always very fun for me. My first book was about influence engine marketing, how to do that, and it was aimed mostly at real estate professionals. I'm currently rewriting it because anything about social media or marketing online, which this primarily was online marketing, out of date almost by the time you publish it, and then and definitely after 2 years. It's been 2 years since I've written that book.
When's it going to come out, the revised version?
I'm working on it right now. I'm hoping within the next 6 months.
Okay. So, and they'll be able to find it where? Amazon, or where they can they get it?
Yeah, they can get it on my website, influenceenginemarketing.com, or you can get it at Amazon.
Okay. So look for that, and the title is going to be?
Influence Engine Marketing for the Real Estate Professional.
Okay. All right. And is that a kind of nuts and bolts or conceptual, or?
It's got a little bit of the conceptual in there, so it's got an idea about why you need to be in the different areas and what those areas are. We've cut out a lot of the part of the individual areas, like when we talked about Twitter in the first version, we talked about specifically how you did the nuts and bolts of putting the things up that you need to put up. But since all those platforms change so often, it doesn't matter really what the platform is. It just matters what's the specific behind it so you can do it.
And tell us for a moment about your Getting Comfortable with Uncomfortableness, A Guide to Success. That's a new book you're writing, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was telling you before, I'm off mic about how shy I was, and part of being getting successful and part of becoming somebody who's not shy, you have to become uncomfortable. And everybody talks about your comfort zone, and a lot of people said, oh my God, Paul does not have a comfort zone. I have a comfort zone. It's just really big because I've worked on taking little steps one at a time at being uncomfortable and being comfortable with that uncomfortableness. And so I'm trying to teach people some exercises and some ways that I did it and the way other people can do that. They don't have to have blue hair, but they have to be able to step out just a little bit, little at a time, and make that into small habits so that they can become successful. It makes it a lot easier to take that step.
Super. So we'll look for that book when it comes out too. I know that'll be good stuff. Wonderful having Pol vanRhee with us today. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to go to TomWilsonProperties.com and to look for our macroeconomics newsletter. It comes out once a week. Also a report on how to select the best metro and products. And it's always nice to have you with us. We also, if you have questions, you want some free consultation, let us know about that as well. We will hope you'll have be back with us next week for our new program. And again, it's really nice to have Paul with us. And in about 4 weeks, he and I are going to be cruising on the 13th, is it? Annual Summit at Sea of the Real Estate Guys. So,
a lot of fun.
So we'll bring back some information from there. Remember, the only thing that matters is what you do next. This is Tom K. Wilson on the Real Estate Radio Live program. Be with us next time.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Tune in, log in, download our podcast, discover more at RERadiolive.com. RERadiolive.com.